Back again. All right, we've now been joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 4 Jimmy John's Budweiser Chevrolet, who will start second in Sunday's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at Auto Club Speedway. And Kevin, you were with us earlier today, and you just talked about the success of the team and the momentum that you have, and obviously a second-place qualifying effort today will continue that into the weekend.
Yeah, just really proud of everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing to see the 41 and 4 cars on the front row. Really happy for Kurt and Tony Gibson and all those guys with everything that they've gone through. Really proud of my guys for making good change. We never really even made a lap in practice that wasn't impeded by something going wrong. And then, I thought we had a lap that was pretty good through 1 and 2, great coming to the green, and just there was 3 cars on the apron where I wanted to run coming to the checkered and wound up having to run the middle of the track. But still a good lap, and we'll definitely take a front row start.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions for Kevin. Please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Munzer from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. Kevin, congratulations first. You and Kurt sharing the front row. How identical is your setup?
I haven't looked at a setup in weeks. I can't even tell you what springs, shocks, sway bars. I have no idea, to be honest with you. We settled in on what we thought our package was about halfway through last year, and those guys fine-tune it to loose or tight. If we're off, then we'll stop and regroup. But yeah, I hadn't looked at anybody else's setups in a long time.
Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Kevin, you were in here earlier and you talked about the biggest timeout you've really had was when you were a kid, and I guess your dad took you off the basketball court.
I thought about that, and I got a timeout back in '02 when I got thrown out.
Martinsville.
That's right, Martinsville. But we did cook hot dogs and eat hamburgers that day, so it was more or less a camping trip.
But anyway, can you relate to what it felt like, say, for Kurt Busch or HA or any of these guys that have had to be out of their cars for whatever reason, what it's like to be sidelined and how driven they are to come back? Because Kurt seems like a man possessed to prove that he, belongs here and wants to do well.
Yeah, I really can't relate to any of those guys just for the fact that there's a lot of things that I've never been through from everything that they went through. So, I know when things aren't going good, or you think you should be running better, and you're determined to get back to where you want to be. You work hard, but it'd be hard to relate from those particular instances.
All right, go ahead, Kay.
Kevin, Kay Presto, Cars and Competition. I heard talk about tailwinds and headwinds today. How much did that affect the cars, if at all?
Honestly, I didn't even look. Looks like it's blowing towards turn 2, so I would say that they should be tighter down there, but it didn't really seem to affect it. Maybe I should pay attention to more stuff that's going on, but Rodney and those guys keep everybody pretty well informed.
All right, if we can get the mic to Jeff, please.
Jeff Clark from USA Today. Last year, at times, it seemed like there was you and then there was the rest of the SHR cars. Since Kurt's been back already, he's been pretty fast. And now today, it seems like you guys have somebody to run with this year at SHR. What does that say about the team?
Well, that's really good for, especially for our 2 cars. And it's really good for everybody at the organization to know that, both sides of the shop are producing similar cars. And if you look back at the end of last year with Gibson and Kurt, when they ran those last few races, they qualified well, they raced fairly well, finished races, and were, had a good foundation to go into this year. And obviously, everything happened at the beginning of this year. It's just taken a little bit longer to showcase exactly what they had. So it's exciting for the company just for the fact that, I know there's been a lot of talk about, the 41 and the 4 and the 10, and, all the different teams and how they're running. But, having the 41 run good the last 2 weeks with Kurt back is good for everybody at SHR.
I'm sorry, I don't know. Which cars are on which side of the shop? Like, you're paired with who? Or are your cars?
Yeah, the 4 and the 14 are together, and the 41 and the 10 are together. So that's a good sign for the whole company because, everything is tried to, be built as similar as possible from a, fabrication standpoint in the body shop. And, So that's a good sign that you can take them from both sides of the shop and do what you need to do.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Kevin, the tire compound is the same in the Xfinity and the Cup Garage this weekend. Running the Xfinity race tomorrow, does that help for an advantage on Sunday?
Well, this is definitely a rhythm racetrack, and this is definitely one that I would circle every time to run both days, just for the fact that the seams are kind of tricky. It seems like there's going to be a ton of fall off in the tires. You know, those Xfinity cars had fallen off quite a bit, you know, just in a matter of 10 laps. So I think when you look at the fall off and the things that you have going on at this particular track, I want to be in the race car, just because there's so many bumps, there's so many seams, there's so many things that just have been sealed and patched, and places you can slide into to have grip and not have grip. And the more laps that you can make, I believe the better off you're going to be. So especially when the tires, even if the tire was different, you know, I'd probably still vote to race, just for the fact that this is just such a technique, rhythm type of racetrack. Yep.
Go ahead.
Kevin, Brian Belansky from RPM Radio Network. You said that you didn't pay attention to anything that's going on with the 41 car, and you didn't know where the wind was coming. When you're hot, is that the case? And when you're not, are you paying attention to all those things?
No, because that's something that Rodney and I talked about from the very beginning. You know, we talk about a lot of things, but when we get to the racetrack, it's, you know, we've already made a lot of decisions. I feel like we've, you know, if we were off, you know, we'd probably have to, you know, really pay attention to what we were doing, what we were changing. But it's been, you know, we've developed such a good package that I feel comfortable with, and those guys know what I like in the simulation. They know the grip numbers and things that I like to feel at different types of racetracks, and we went through so many things last year. You know, it's something to where these cars are so engineered now. All I'm going to do is screw them up. So from the beginning, I've not worried about what springs, shocks. I just try to be a source of information to those guys and remember things that worked at certain racetracks, and think about what I'm doing as a driver and where the stuff that they're doing. They'll tell me what they're doing, and I can relate to previous racetracks that we've changed those types of things. And you try to just be a source of information, because it's such a science project nowadays that, you know, putting 3 5s and a 2 in like you did back in 2001 is not going to work. So
during the streak, has the car been really just the way you wanted it off the truck every week?
No, and like I say, last week I think I heard Rodney say it. You know, we struggled a little bit off the truck to get the feel that you want, because the tires have changed. And today, you know, we didn't really know what we had before qualifying, because we hadn't made a complete lap yet. You know, at full speed without something happening. The 19 wreck, the 5 was in front of us. You know, so there was just, we made 3 laps and didn't really know, didn't finish any of them, so we didn't really know where we sat. So we made some good decisions with travels and you know, I relayed what I felt in the car as far as what I felt with the, you know, the splitter and grip, and you know, we looked at past history, and we go through a lot of notes, but when it comes to springs and shocks, there's no rhyme or reason in my mind how it even all works anymore. So you know, I just try to be a source of information to push the engineers in the right direction.
All right. Any final questions for Kevin? All right, Kevin, congratulations on your second starting position, and good luck this weekend. Now we've been joined by our fourth fastest qualifier, David Reagan, driver of the number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota. And David, coming into this weekend, you knew that the 18 car had been successful here, winning the last 2 races. So obviously, I'm sure the pressure was there. But talk a little bit about today and coming home, you know, 4th fastest and then the qualifying.
Yeah, everyone's reminded me often that the 18 car has won both races in the previous 2 years. But, yeah, that certainly gives you some confidence coming into the weekend. I spoke to Kyle this morning and, you know, gave me a few things to think about, not necessarily for qualifying today, but, you know, for happy hour tomorrow throughout the race on Sunday. So, you know, I feel like I've got a lot of good guys surrounding me that if I ask them the right questions, they'll give me some good advice. And ultimately, it helps when you have a fast car. And I think that our Interstate Batteries Toyota has some speed. The handling hasn't been perfect today, but it's encouraging anytime that, you know, you can make some small adjustments. The car does react, and even though you're still fighting some problems, you still have some speed. So it looks like all 4 Gibbs Cars has some speed today, so we'll work on, tomorrow. I think tomorrow's practices will be very, very important to get a good balance for Sunday. But all in all, I feel good about the weekend and can't wait to get going on Sunday.
All right, we'll take questions for David. Please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. After 3 races with the team, do you finally feel like you're kind of getting your groove together? And before Kurt comes in here, the same question I asked to Harvick. You know what it was like to be at a premier organization. You're back at a premier organization again. What's it like when you're itching to get back into a car that you know is competitive and can take you to the front?
Yeah, I think that. What was your first question?
Just acclimating to the team after 3 races.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to get to the racetrack and know everyone's name and get a feel for, their process through a weekend and how they communicate and how all 4 teams work together for the common good. And so that certainly does make things a little easier. I've been a little disappointed with just our overall results on Sundays. We've had, moments of brilliance through the weekend, but we really haven't been able to put an entire weekend together. So it's encouraging to get back to the racetrack and again have some speed. And this weekend is very, very important to get a good run and obviously just set the tone for the next few races. So as far as being on a smaller team and being hungry to get to a more competitive program, I think in the Sprint Cup Series sometimes your careers go in different directions, and I think that every driver, maybe an exception of 1 or 2 over the years, have all had ups and downs and been more successful with multiple teams. And so in my situation, leaving Roush, going to Front Row Motorsports, I knew that I had a great opportunity to help a smaller team and meet some new people and, still work on some of my skills. But the resources and all the tools that the larger teams has, it's really remarkable that a smaller organization can even keep up with the larger teams. And so, kudos to NASCAR for keeping the rules as tight as they have over the years that will allow, a Harry Scott Motorsports or Front Row Motorsports or a Phoenix Racing over the years to win a race or to qualify in the top 10 or get a top 10 finish. But I think over the last few years I've worked hard to try to make David Reagan a better driver. But when you get to a team like Gibbs or a Hendrick or Stuart Haas, you're surrounded by greatness. You definitely have to elevate and not make any mistakes. And there's some really, really good drivers, really good crew chiefs and engineers that are out there, and then they make you a better driver. And so just in the last few weeks, the tools that have been, at my fingertips and some of the information just to help me drive and be a smarter driver, it's been unbelievable. And so it's something that's definitely given me a shot in the arm to keep digging and keep working hard, being a young guy.
All right, we'll go to Wolfgang next.
Wolfgang Monze from Germany, Rennsport Press Agent. David, you started the season in a Ford and as a replacement driver for Kyle in Toyota. Are the cars very different in driving behavior or setup, or you didn't feel any difference?
Yeah, I really can't give you a good description because my only Ford race this season was the Daytona 500, so it was on last year's rule package, and it's at a Speedway race where a lot of things that we have to work on at a Phoenix or Vegas or certainly here, you don't have to worry about at Daytona. So I don't really know until later this season, and depending on how everything shakes out, I don't have a good, accurate description on the differences. All I know is what I've known since Atlanta, and that's just been in a Toyota Camry.
All right, we'll go up front to Lewis.
Yes, Louis Frank of Reuters. Slightly unfair, again, because you've had only 3 races in a Toyota, but there seems to be a gap, as an outsider to a cockpit, seems to be a gap between the Toyotas and the Chevys and the Fords. Do you have a sense? Do they tell you what's the gap, what to do about it?
They probably screen and filter a little bit what they tell me, and that's only fair. But I think that everyone's at a small disadvantage from some of the GM cars right now. I think that not from a manufacturing standpoint, but it just so happens that the Hendrick team and Stuart Haas team, even the Childress team to an extent, seem to be a little bit more consistent from the different types of tracks that we raced on. I would put my money on a Toyota this weekend. I think the odds are in our favor. We've got some really good speed with the Michael Waltrip cars and the Gibbs cars, so that can change really quick, and that's something that you always see in this sport. It's a continuing moving target and a cycle that one team gets a small advantage, and how long can you hold on to it before the other guys figure things out? And at the moment, I think the GMs definitely have a small advantage. I don't know what it is, but they do have a small advantage, but that could go away pretty quick.
All right, Kay, go ahead.
Kay Presto, Cars and Competition. Being that Kyle has run so successfully here, how much consulting have you done with him on how to handle this particular track?
I've done a good bit. I speak to Kyle once or twice a week, some by text, some by phone, and he can certainly give you some good tips. But the team has a lot of good information on trends from the beginning of a run to end of a run, qualifying, how the track changes throughout a weekend. But there's also a lot of other moving targets. You've got a new tire this year. You've got a new engine package, a new downforce package, and so there are a lot of different things. But yeah, you can, just like Kevin was saying, every race you run, you make some mental notes. Sometimes drivers can remember better than others. I try to write some stuff down so I don't forget, but you look back at those notes and everybody sees and feels and hears different things. So yeah, Kyle can definitely help out some, and so can Matt and Carl, Denny. They're great guys, but spotters can help, crew chiefs can help, and so I definitely lean on everyone to try to see what they've had in their experience here that makes them good.
All right, we'll take our final question from Bob.
Parkhurst, ESPN. I mean, I know you weren't in this car last year or Toyota last year, but do you get any sense that the Toyota teams are still getting used to the new nose that they have for this season?
I've heard a little talk about the nose, a little talk about the engine package. So yeah, I still think there are some growing pains and understanding what their limits are, how aggressive they can be, and how to get the most out of their Toyota Camry parts and pieces. So, and I think that's the case with any manufacturer. As you go to some different racetracks, these first 5 or 6 races, it's really a perfect schedule, to have a Speedway, a couple of downforce tracks, a short track, and then we go to Martinsville. So there's going to be a different group of issues when you get to Martinsville, with the low speed corners and accelerating out of those tight corners with a lot of, torque that you need with the engine package. So yeah, time will tell how each manufacturer develops, but I think the Toyota guys, they feel pretty confident with where they're at and where they're going.
David, congratulations on your solid starting position, and we thank you for coming in this afternoon.
Yep, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Friday job.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, congratulations. All right, we've now been joined by our Coors Light Pole Award for Sunday's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at Auto Club Speedway. We're now joined by the driver of the number 41 Haas Automation Chevrolet, Kurt Busch. And Kurt, a great run this afternoon for you and your team, a SHR front row with Kevin starting second. So talk a little bit about your run.
Yeah, great run for us on the 41 car. I mean, it started right when we unloaded with all the speed that Tony Gibson and everybody at Stewart Haas built into this car. And, the adrenaline is going, at a good pace right now. And I got a good feel from yesterday when I visited the Haas headquarters to see the employees and the different customers that came by, and to feel the love from them was extra special. And to deliver for Gene Haas today here in Southern California. I mean, he's based his company here, and it's great to come to this track and to be able to produce a pole in just our second week back. It really shows the strength of the team and how we need to capitalize on the now.
We'll take questions for Kurt. Please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Tom.
Hey, Kurt, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Congratulations on the pole. Obviously, things seem to be working well with Tony Gibson. Can you describe your working relationship and how that's been working out so far?
Yeah, I really enjoy working with Tony Gibson, old school guy that really knows the car well. He knows how to manage his people. He knows how to build the cars, and each racetrack's slightly different, and he brings the best piece each and every week, whether it's a Phoenix style layout or a California Speedway style layout. The way that he puts a lot of effort into the cars, it's done by the crew members. I mean, our cars have a lot of man hours that are put into them, and I'm proud to drive them. So I really can't thank him enough. We hit it off really well last year with 3 races together, and we qualified well in those 3 races, finished well, and now here we are starting off strong this year. So it's great to have a veteran leader like him and to have all the crew members in place. I think this 41 car is very strong.
All right, we'll go to Lewis and then Jeff. Lewis, go ahead.
Lewis Frank of Reuters. We're not supposed to use cliches, but you've seemed to hit the ground running. How have you been able to do that?
Just putting the blinders on and focusing on the car. I mean, it's my love, it's my passion, it's what I do. And I love to go out there and to drive fast. And when you have the chance to drive down into the corner as fast as we do and have it stick as good as it does, it's a feeling that you want to carry for as long as you can. And I'm able to do that because I've been given good cars to do such. So just staying focused, keeping up with numbers, watching film, and knowing that if I give it my best effort, good things will come.
Jeff, go ahead.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Kurt, I've heard you talk several times about how much you appreciate Gene Haas and all that he's done for you. Have you ever wanted to win for somebody else as much as you do for him?
Not at this point. I mean, right now it's Gene who believed in me and showed his belief and his strength, and I'm happy to deliver. Am I behind? Yeah, I need to go out there and win more poles and win more races, but I have everything to thank through Gene Haas. And so, I mean, I've worked with Roger Penske and worked with Jack Roush. Those guys love Michigan. They love to win at that Michigan Speedway. But right now it's about getting our Chevrolet and our Haas Automation and our Monster Energy car as fast as we can get it every week, and Gene Haas has given me that chance.
All right, Kay, go ahead.
Okay, Presto Cars and Competition. Kurt, you came right back into the car with the new downforce regs, the track par, nothing that you had experience with, and did well right off the bat. How can you adapt so quickly?
Some of it's the preparation of the team, and some of it is the cars coming back towards my driving style. I like cars with less downforce in the rear, and that balance feel, I think, is complemented the way that I drive. So honestly, I think it has to do with some of the rules packages that NASCAR has implemented, and you got to drive the car a little bit looser.
Kurt, it's John Palmentary with KEYT in Santa Barbara and Ventura, where you were yesterday. Could you take us a layer deep into Haas Automation and what it was like meeting the employees yesterday? Because Gene has put so much faith in you, and you have a great relationship with. You got to see the Oxnard plant and all the employees, and what did they tell you too? Because I know that that's good for your soul as well.
Well, it's a beautiful facility, over 1 million square feet under a roof, and you have so many different departments making so many different CNC machines, and then you see the area in the back that it looks like it's a sci-fi area of a 5-axis plate, but it comes down to the people, and the people really are proud to work there. They're intelligent people, and Gene has really structured a facility that cranks out world-class CNC machines that are known domestically very strongly, and next is his attempt to attack Formula One and go after the international world with the Haas Automation brand. When you see it firsthand, it just blows you away, and you're really impressed with how his dream has created a situation for so many employees and Stewart Haas Racing, and for his passion for racing. It's great to be able to come in here and deliver a pole for him on this weekend, and I will keep going for some more wins.
Kathy Brown, pittingoutsidethebox.com. Bouncing off of what Jeff had asked you, do you feel at any time upon coming back that you have something to prove to the fans or to yourself or to anybody for that matter?
It's about driving, and I've said it before on how this is a privilege to have a chance to drive at this top level, and when it's taken away from you or you have made a mistake and you don't get a chance to go out there and do it on your terms, it's tough. And so I don't have anything to prove. I have my job to do, though, which is to go out there, drive, and race for wins.
All right, we'll go to Bob, and then we'll end with the two gentlemen in the back. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Last week, Tony Gibson said that the team kind of felt like they had won the lottery, knowing that you were back and that they had a chance to win a championship. Do you do you get a feel of just an enthusiasm among your guys?
Yeah, there's such a strong group. I've been together for many, many years, and we just need to bridge from where we were last year in those final 3 races into 2015. And so we didn't get the start that we wanted, and here we are now. So let's just stay the course, run our pace, continue to put an effort forth on the cars and the work ethic, and look through the notes on what we can do to develop as a team even further. And Tony Gibson is right now one of the smartest guys in this garage area on how he manages building the cars, how he manages the crew, and how he calls a race. And I'm blessed to have the chance to work with him.
Kurt, Brian Belansky from RPM Motorsports Radio. Kevin was just in here, and he said he does not pay attention to the setups on your car or the other cars within the team. How much are you guys, you and Tony, paying attention to the setups on his car during this streak?
Well, I mean, you would be stupid not to pay attention to somebody that's won or finished second in the last 7 races. It's a system that you can benefit from with sharing. With Stuart Haas connected to Hendrick Motorsports and the open book that we have, it's a matter of filtering through, though, what each crew chief, lead engineer, and what each driver needs out of the racetrack at any moment. I think we can all run within a half a second of each other. It's finding those extra fine details that I think Kevin might not look at others for. He's going to look straight to Rodney Childers for. I want to look straight to Tony Gibson for our extra speed. And today we put it together, and now we'll keep building on that.
All right, go ahead.
Alan Bailey, American Racing Network. Kurt, obviously the pole's a big deal, but what would a win on Sunday mean to not only you, but to Haas, the company, and Gene Haas in particular?
Well, it'd be huge to do it here in Southern California, Gene Haas's backyard. Haas Automation's group of people will be here in Groves on Sunday. I mean, the numbers of people coming to support this 41 car start with Haas Automation, the Chevrolet brand, and Monster Energy is based here in Southern California. Alpine Star, I've got a great group of Southern California companies, even Panic Switch Army. It's great to have such a strong support here in SoCal, and it would mean the world to me to deliver for Gene Haas, give him that win, but we want more. We're not going to just stop with this one pole.
Kurt, congratulations on the pole for Sunday's race, and thanks for joining us this afternoon.
All right, thank you. Hanging around. Seriously. Seriously,